and the Pack Attack pellets never cry. So that's a good thing. Deadly Tarantula Girl coming to you from my private serpentarium. Tonight, Mousy and I are going to be showing you a frog care video, and this isn't going to go into real detail on care. I'm just going to do a little routine where I zip through and just clean, feed, and water my amphibians. Well, my young amphibians, I'll say that. I have a small collection of horned frogs and pixie frogs. I will just do a little talk through and show you guys what I do, what materials I use, and let you guys take a look at my beautiful froggies. Let's do this. Onwards. I'll kind of walk you through the process on the first couple of these. I keep a little container on the floor for me to dump dirty water into, and then I have another container that is about 80% drinking water, about 20% tap water. And when I say drinking water, I mean go to the store and buy a gallon of water that says drinking water, because it has a specific mixture of chlorine and minerals and things like that. Actually, it's completely lacking minerals. So that's where the tap water comes in. And then I also use dechlorinator however much you need for however much water you're using, which all of your bottles of dechlorinator will specify how much to use. So I have that in the drinking water bottle. I've already displaced 20%, added tap water, the whole shebang. This is a container that I use to rinse my frogs off, and that has the water mixture. And then I have another container, and this can just have tap water, and this is for me to rinse out the water dishes. And the water container on the floor, as I said, it's just a tub. It's for dirty water out of their bowls, and also if I need to wring out their substrate. Ammonia can build up in the substrate from their waste, and so if it looks like it needs wringing out, I actually collect it all and squeeze it and just get that extra moisture out. And I use tongs to clean any stool out of the substrate. Looks like this little froggy's hiding under the dish. Okay, so here's a pixie frog, and I have taken out the water dish, rinsed it out in the big tap water dish. It's important not to fill their water bowl back up with tap water. That is where I'm going to use my drinking water concoction. So I've taken the water dish out, I have cleaned it. I'm going to get this little guy. You want to make sure that you don't have any soaps or lotions on your hands as much as possible. This substrate looks pretty clean and has just enough moisture. If it's too dry, I'll add moisture, but it looks pretty good. So I'm going to put the water dish back in, fill it up with my drinking water mix. Then I'm going to first feed the Hikari Reptile Pack Attack pellet. I'm running low on these, and so I'm gonna have to switch to rodents once these are gone. But until they are, I will use these. These are really great because they are specially formulated to be a balanced diet for a frog. They're very easy to use. They make no mess, and these frogs will bite you, so try to come up from behind them. And the pixies jump like crazy. And so what you do is you just get a pellet and dip it in the water for 2 seconds, and then just offer it to your frog. And there it goes. Pellet gone. So this guy has clean substrate, clean water, and he has been fed. So I'll pass this off to one of my trusty assistants. And on to the next tank. In the circumstance that they do not eat a whole pellet, I will give them a little mouse. And these are pre-killed, but they are fresh from my racks. So it's one of the less pleasant parts of keeping these large predator frogs, but that's the circle of life. I happen to really love rodents, especially rabbits, and it does really break my heart to feed them, but that's what my biggest reptiles eat. So in the wild, these guys are ambush predators. They keep nice little burrows, and they just kind of wait for stuff to come traipsing along, and then they gobble it down. If it's small enough, in one swallow. If it's a little bigger, in a couple of gulps, and it's gone pretty quickly. Their jaws are fairly powerful, and they do have tiny little teeth so they can hang on to it. And they will bite your finger and hang on, so you have to be careful not to hurt them. Usually what I do is just kind of hang out until they let go of my finger, which you may see during this video. It doesn't really hurt though. They can crush pretty hard. Here is a beautiful horned frog, and this one is going to graduate to a larger water dish. And yep, trying to bite me. Looking for your dinner. This one has a couple of pieces of stool. I'm just sifting out of here. And this is a little bit wetter. So what I do is just get it in my hands and squeeze any excess moisture out to prevent the ammonia from their urine building up in their substrate. And it's primarily water, but over time the waste can build up in these little enclosures and actually tox them out. And you'll know because it doesn't smell very good. And since frogs absorb things through osmosis through their skin, you need to make sure that they are on clean substrate, because being in dirty, wet substrate can kill them. So not only will they die, but it's just inhumane to have them in dirty enclosures. So not a lot of moisture, but you can see it's a little bit drier now. This one's going to graduate to a larger water dish. And these are just little cat dishes. Alrighty, the frog's had a nice little rinse. Back in his clean home. And here comes his pellet. And it's gone. Alright, you can see this one's in a nice little burrow. Alright. And I tried to avoid the frogs biting me just because it's more potentially could hurt them than me, because it doesn't really hurt. But it does take some time to get them to release from the bite, so for time's sake, I'm going to try not to get my finger eaten tonight. The substrate looks good. Okay. This one too will graduate to a larger water dish soon. For those frog aficionados out there, I am very, very interested in producing a lot of horned frogs this year. And so if you are skilled and knowledgeable in that area, I would love to hear from you. If you have any tips for me. I'm sorry, buddy. That was smart. Substrate's a little dry, so I'm gonna overflow the water dish just a tad. And good job. It's a cute little albino. This is pretty much the end of my hickory pellets. They've lasted me a long time. Been using this bag for a while. I would love to have some more. I want to give my condolences to the Hickory Reptiles company because they recently lost their founder, who from what I know was a really exceptional man. Hickory is a Japanese corporation and one that's been making quality products for quite some time. I would love to work with them someday. And my froggies hope I can too. open it up. This is the second to last frog. It's a Pixie. This is a little dry. So I'll just flood over the water dish a little bit. It's nice if one side's a little bit wetter and one side's a little bit drier so they can kind of go where they need to go. Obviously, you need to choose the size of the rodent based on the size of your frog and the appetite of your frog, because I have some frogs that I know are hearty eaters and are enthusiastic and will try to eat anything you give them, and other frogs that are a little more timid and won't eat something. That's typically the size that a frog that size would eat. So you have to kind of know your animals a little bit. One's a little chunk, and you can see he's trying to even eat my hand, so he is one, because all these frogs are pretty much the same age, and you can see how much bigger. Most of them are around the same age. Okay, this feels clean for the most part. Moisture level is good. When it gets too wet, that's when I wring it out. This guy's going to graduate to a larger water dish. Here's the last meal of the frog feeding. You might have noticed I had a couple different morphs of the Argentine horned frogs, also known as the Pacman frogs, and all my pixies are just normal. So you guys might have seen my adult trio of pixies that I'm very excited about breeding, although I have to say I've been trying for a summer or two with no success. So I've been given a couple of tips, but if you know how to breed pixies, I would love to hear about it. I really enjoy reproducing frogs. I think they're awesome, and I really love having them. So I have reproduced horned frogs in the past, but not pixie frogs ever before. It's a little bit of luck, and a lot of times there's just one little factor, like you need to simulate rain, or you need multiple males, or I don't know, sometimes they have to get cold first. It depends. Every animal is unique, and maybe there's a secret about pixie frogs reproducing that I'm not aware of. Last time I was told you need a group of males so they can kind of combat over females and stimulate breeding behavior, but I only have one adult male and I'm raising up some others, as you noticed. So I'm hoping by next summer to have a group of males, but if you know more about it, I'd love to hear it. So that was my frog routine video. And I'd like to know what your favorite frog was that you saw tonight. I hope you enjoyed seeing my frog collection. These animals that I have were my holdbacks from a few different places. Some of them came from Strictly out of Florida, which I absolutely love. Little shout out to Jeannie, she's amazing. And also a lot of them came from the Frog Ranch. And you can see I have quite a few beautiful colors. I have a great survival rate. They are wonderful shippers, and I highly recommend Strictly Reptiles as well as the Frog Ranch. If you enjoyed seeing these beautiful froggies, you might want to ask your local retailer if they order from Strictly Reptiles or from the Frog Ranch and request that they do, because I find that their amphibians are often superior to some of the other guys. Also, I do recommend the Pack Attack pellet. They're really awesome, and my frogs tend to enjoy those. And for those of you who do not like seeing a little mouse die, which of course I don't enjoy, but I do breed rodents for food, sadly. If you don't like feeding live rodents, you can always feed the Pack Attack from Hikari, which is a really nice brand. They're very clean, that's one thing I like about them. And the Pack Attack pellets never cry, so that's a good thing. If you have any questions about any of these frogs or would like more detailed care, go ahead and comment that below, and maybe I'll do some more frog videos very soon. Hope you guys like this one, and I'll see you next time.